Global warming is driving dangerous and disruptive flooding in underground rail systems around the world. Flooded tunnels and stations have disrupted service and stranded passengers in Boston, London, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Barcelona, Taipei, Bangkok and a host of other cities in recent years. But the problem has taken on added urgency this summer, with multiple, high-profile subway floods driven by summer rainstorms. Overnight, the remnants of Hurricane Ida flooded much of the New York City subway. Mayor Bill de Blasio issued a travel ban and warned residents to stay off subways, as up to 10 inches of rain fell in some parts of the region in a matter of hours. This is the third time New York subways have flooded this summer, and the first time the National Weather Service issued a flash flood emergency warning for the city. Heavy rain has also repeatedly swamped underground tracks in Boston. Elsewhere, subway floods have turned deadly. In July, 13 passengers died in Zhengzhou, China after they were trapped by flash floods. Harrowing videos showed people struggling to breathe a shrinking pocket of air as the water rose. None of us had seen people with water up to their necks, standing in underground trains, says Slobodan Djordjevic, an engineer at the University of Essex who specializes in flooding of underground train systems. Djordjevic has spent much of his career studying floods in subway tunnels. But he says he was shocked by what he saw happening in China. I actually considered whether this was even real. In China and around the world, the culprit is climate-driven torrential rain. Zhengzhou received about a year's worth of precipitation in just one day. Earlier this summer, the remnants of a tropical storm dumped a month's worth of rain on New York City in the span of an afternoon. Dozens of subway systems around the world have experienced flooding, says Djordejevic, and he estimates it's likely hundreds of thousands of passengers have been directly affected. That has created tension between the need to provide reliable, low-emissions mass transit options and the growing cost of maintaining underground transit in a wetter world. Keeping water out of tunnels and stations is expensive, especially in places with aging, leaky subways that were built for a 20th century climate. Some help could come from the federal government. The infrastructure bill moving through Congress allocates $66 billion for rail, a huge infusion of cash that could help fund retrofitting of old subway systems to keep water out, and the building of new train lines in places that currently depend on cars. Every city should have a comprehensive review of flood risk for the underground system, Djordjevic says. Looking ahead, authorities need to think very carefully about where they want to build new lines, new stations, new tunnels. Many Asian cities are ahead of the curve. Many U.S.